Blackstone here. So we are going to go ahead and get into how to season it. First thing you want to do is just to do a good cleaning on it with some warm soapy water, just to make sure you have any like debris and stuff like that washed off, because we don't want that to get seasoned into our griddle. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and rinse off that soap. Just gonna do a super quick kind of dry off on here. It doesn't have to be perfect, because once we turn it on, it's gonna evaporate off any of that water anyways. Okay, then I'm gonna turn on my propane here, and we're gonna turn this on to high. Okay, both of my burners on, it is set to high, and we're just going to let it kind of sit here on high until it starts smoking and changing color. It's going to take like 10 or 15 minutes to do that. Okay, now that our griddle has started to change colors, and we want, like I showed you guys in those previous clips, we want it to actually like the entire griddle start to change colors, not just the markings where you can see where the light, the flame is underneath. So once it has changed color, I'm gonna take some tongs and a paper towel, and we're going to start applying light layers of oil. You do not want to have lots of thick layers on your griddle. You want to go ahead and do super thin oils. I am using the Blackstone seasoning, the griddle seasoning that is made by Blackstone to season your griddle, but you can use any neutral flavored oil that has a high smoke point. So you do not want to use olive oil on here. You could do like avocado, has a higher smoke point, but you want to do something that has neutral flavor. I have seen people do tallow also. Tallow is not as much of a neutral flavor, but it would work as it is a higher smoke point. So on here, I'm just going to scoop out a couple tablespoons of the seasoning, and I'm going to layer it on, a thin layer onto the entire griddle. And it's okay if you have to go back in and get some more because you ran out. You would rather have a really thin layer than too thick. You can see that it is completely smoking. That is what we want. Even though I said you want a high smoke point, we're going to burn off that layer of oil. And once it's done smoking, we're gonna come back in and do another thin layer. Okay, that first layer has mostly burned off, so I'm gonna go in and do a second layer of seasoning. You wanna make sure that you are getting it all over, making sure to get like the sides of the griddle as well, and not just the surface. Also going to put a little bit on the outside here, just because we do still want to protect all of the like components of that griddle. Okay. We're gonna let this burn off for a second time. I'm gonna go ahead, you can see, I'm gonna get this, you can see the surface has definitely started to turn black. I'm just going to hit it one more time to see if I can get some of these edges a little bit better, but those are also just going to come with time of using your griddle. But I just want to come in here focusing in on some of these areas that I didn't get as good, and then I'm gonna get a little bit more. We're just gonna go back in and do a really good last layer here. Okay, and we're gonna just let that burn off. Okay, that last layer of oil has pretty much completely burned off. I'm gonna just go ahead, turn off the griddle, turn off my propane, and then I'm just gonna let this cool before I put my cover back on. But that's how easy it is to season your griddle. I'll show you a close-up of it in just a minute, but you'll see that the corners still aren't completely black, and that's totally normal. That will just come with use of getting it completely black like you see seasoned griddlers having.